world and about just who we really are and where we've come and how we still have to go really.
I identify as American, but I am Chinese.
White, I think. I'm technically half Hispanic, but I feel more white because I look white.
I'm Hispanic ethnically, but biracial.
Guinean.
White.
So basically I'm black, yeah. I'm African American.
Black or African American.
Black. I consider myself a mixture. I'm as much Haitian as I am African American, but I identify more with Haitian, so I should say black.
Yes.
Okay, white.
I'm Caucasian.
African American.
Half Japanese, half white.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, 100%.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
I think it all depends on how you look at it. I mean, compared to other countries, you could say there's so much less, or it's all, compared.
You can clearly see it, that there's a race problem here. And people say, oh, it's the taxpayers, but like, if there are more people in the black neighborhood, shouldn't the taxes, carry out to help out the black neighborhoods more?
I think we don't like to admit we have one, and that makes it a lot worse.
Everything is just more popularized by the media, and you have a lot more attention.
I feel like you hear about places, say in the Middle East or Africa, or that things are a lot more violent because of race or religion. But here, yeah, things aren't 100% ideal, but at least it's not to the extent that it is in other areas.
I think there's issues with equality in America, and there's a lot of issues with blindness between races.
I think that one, we have systemic racism, in that it's kind of built into our policies, and just the way the government runs, it's just really not designed to be optimal for all races and minorities. I think that's one problem, and two, I think it's also a societal issue in that whether people are conscious of it or not, there are just certain things that we're taught from our parents or whomever in our life, which I think it gets better with younger generations, but I think that there are just certain ideals that are kind of instilled in your brain for just everyday life, and it just sucks.
Just the economic inequality that exists between the races as well as classes, the incarceration rate of black males, disproportionate to any other population in any other country in the world, and continuous resentment of what people call political correctness, which is really minority groups expressing their identity. So, a retarded person doesn't like to be called retarded because that blocks out who they are as a person. So you would say a person with cognitive delays, then they still have an identity. Same thing if that person does not want to be identified by a pejorative term that denigrates them. And to talk about civil rights as though it were a matter of political correctness denies the existence of America's history, which is one of racial injustice.
It's definitely a prejudice problem. I wouldn't really say it's race, but it's just deep-rooted oppressions that a group of people feel like they are inclined to, put down other groups of people. And I think it's just a stigma that's just been passed down by generations to generation. KRS once said, he knows where all the Black Panther suits are. They're either shot up or in ditches. But what happened to all the KK robes? The KK robes are still in households. They're still probably wearing them, still passing down this mentality of white people are superior than other races or other cultures. And I just think it's a problem that we need to address fully.
We would like to think that the justice system is for us and for everyone. The police officers are there to make us feel safe, but the justice system also has a lot of power. Sometimes it can be abused.
We do some things right, but I think we do more things wrong than we often realize.
So when you hear the word police, what comes to your mind?
People with guns. First thing.
Do you feel safe around the police?
I don't know, because I've never had a moment where I have to be like around the police at all. So I don't know if I could answer that question because I've never had a moment where there's police there.
What do you think they're there for?
To protect and serve the people. That's what it says.
Well, like, I think of like a big white cop like chasing a black man. That's what I think of.
Wait, I hate that. I hate that.
That's how you see
The first thing
it.
that I think of is police brutality. Yeah.
Yes.
I don't feel like I'm in danger where I live. So I don't feel personally like a police force is needed in my life. And if you cut that out of a lot of areas where it's not needed, it would cut back on police brutality elsewhere as well.
How do you feel about that?
I used to always like revere police.
The real problem is guns. That's what we decided.
I don't know if that's the real problem.
It's part of the problem.
It's the real
I just think there should be guns.
Well, cops would say that it's hostile situations that are actually like the issue, but what do you guys think a hostile situation is actually
Like with the whole like the with the shootings, I got like more like not like scared, but like more just like hesitant.
I think it probably started like all like when us African Americans got our freedom back in like the 1800s, and then like Jim Crow was just like being popular. I think that was like also like going back again, that mentality was like passed down to like these cops that have power and they're supposed to be looked upon as like protectors, and I think they like passing down this like generational mentality of putting black people down. I think they hold this power and they felt like they could continue this.
I think it's interesting that you say when black people got their freedom, not like from slavery, because a lot of people say, oh, it's because of slavery, but you're saying when black people got their freedom, then they were scared.
Yeah.
Right? And they're still scared.
Okay, the few police that are making assumptions about a situation are tainting the reputation of all like discipline.
Like most police are the calm people. And it's a really good system, but like they're all, they're a bad egg everywhere, but because their actions have such serious ramifications on the community that like that's like made the whole thing look bad. Like everyone, like most people are like fine people, like honorary people, but like there are a few like bad eggs, they're too trigger happy.
Yeah, I know these like few like deep-rooted like few people who have deep-rooted prejudices against minorities, and it comes out when they have when they abuse their power.
But even though we handcrafted and structured it, it was never made for us. It's like
I really don't know, to be perfectly honest.
You don't have to pause the camera.
I feel like even if you say you're white, you have so much. There's such a variety. It could be like European or like. It's like saying white is very broad too.
White in America, it's more of a homogenous term. It sort of refers to the mixing of people that has occurred in this country over the years. So for me, it's more of a melting pot description of the people that are derived from the Anglo part of Europe.
There's a lot of stereotype about that too, but I feel like there's a lot more privilege. Like white people will get more privilege, and it's unfair. I don't like that.
Like I feel like probably got away with a lot of stuff.
It's an entitlement because there are things that come with it or that people assume come with it, but I think that's a fairly recent phenomenon because up until the Second World War, white Americans were poor too. So it's the whole notion of this sort of, affluent middle class is a very recent phenomenon, and so poverty has existed among whites and blacks. But So the notion that we're entitled to things is, as white people, I think is certainly came with, you know, the founding fathers. They felt very entitled. You know, women didn't have rights, blacks were people, and so on and so forth.
I've actually never thought about what it means to be an individual race in America, because America basically presents itself as such a melting pot, which is actually getting into the blindness issue.
White America comes with a lot, and I don't think that white people necessarily know it and intend to ride that wave so casually without really, like, I don't know, I just feel like there's just like a lot of carefreeness that comes with like being white in America. You can get away with a lot of things. Like I literally the other day heard someone say that being a white male is the best thing that you could be. And like that to me was just shocking that that idea is out there, because like,
To me, that means like you have some sort of power over a group of people. I also think it's like they're kind of like they see themselves as perfection, or they're stronger than other people.
I think it means privilege you don't always know you have, and I think it means being comfortable and just being able to having freedoms that other people like just kind of handed to you, and sometimes it's harder for you to see out of your own bubble. You're kind of like in a world that you don't realize that there are other worlds out there, and sometimes it's hard to break out of that bubble. So I think it's good when people do, and good when people interact with people who aren't like them, and people who look different and act different and do different things in them. But I think being white is just, it's a privilege, and it's maybe it shouldn't be. I wish that more people didn't realize it was, and also try to like level the playing field.
Privileges, especially me as a foreigner, I think that white people have more privileges.
I honestly do not know what to say.
I mean, I'm not black, so I feel like there's a lot of stigma and stereotype around African Americans. It really bothers me a lot, because they're all the same people, all people.
I have to fight harder than anybody else to succeed.
In terms of the history of the U.S. and slavery, I myself am descended from slaves, so I actually prefer the term black because for me it implies that history, that's where I came from.
Take your time.
Nobody's asked me this question before. I think that where we are in America right now is really important in our history for black people, given what's happening with a number of things like police brutality and the fact that we had the first black president who is about to finish his term. So I think that being black in America right now is about change.
It's an everyday struggle. We're looked at as beasts, monsters, ugly, we're fat, we can never be perfection, we can never be kings or queens.
Well, although I can't speak personally because I'm not, I would say, that's a tough one. It has to mean you're almost like living like a million other people's lives that weren't yours, and you don't get to really live life as like your own person and like just who you are, and I think that that's really tough.
I think especially for young black males, or even older black males, the constant fear of being apprehended for being, you know, in the, it doesn't even matter, wrong neighborhood, just, you know, if someone if the police has a suspicion or think they have reason to stop them, or not reason, they do. I think just when you go into a store, you know that you're being watched, and there's a presumption that you are guilty or going to be guilty of something.
I wish that it was more wonderful to be black in America, because it's such like an incredible culture, and there's like so much that comes with it, and I just wish that people would really like open their ears to like the struggle and the beauty and like everything that comes along with being like black in America, and just respecting that, because like you can't look at someone and be like, oh, you're less than me because like of whatever. And I think people do that a lot, and I feel like a lot of times black people like feel, I don't even think that they know that they do it, but they might feel like they have more to prove, and like they have to like do this to like prove this and do that to prove that, and you end up sort of getting like a lot of either like self-fulfilling prophecies or like a lot of people who might come off like the wrong way because they're just like really just trying to get themselves out there and have you see who they are instead of just their skin.
And a complete lack of appreciation of Black genius. I think, just when you think of Black artists, Black music, Black everything that's contributed to this country, and it's so underappreciated, and people try to deny it, and that just, I would think, would be very, very hurtful in terms of identity.
Oh yeah, many times.
Yes. I actually don't really identify with America.
I am, I guess, I don't know how it's said, but I'm first generation American. So my parents immigrated here, and then I grew up with that specific, like a Venezuelan Hispanic culture in my household, and then like outside. I didn't feel like I was American. I was like, oh, but I was born here. And I don't know, it's weird because like you identify with certain things and you don't. You just kind of take it out. I think that's what it means to me.
Well, I guess I am American because all Puerto Ricans are American, and I've lived here for a long time. But it's not something that I consciously think about all the time.
I don't know. That never crossed my mind.
And the only place I feel at home is in New York City, which is the most un-American city in our country.
I think that I always have felt that I am because I came from such a patriotic family. Both of my parents met in the military. I don't always identify with everybody here, and some of the things that we do, and some of the ways that we can't deny that fact. Like I've been given the privilege, I suppose, to be comfortable in like my country, and to know that like I always have a home here, and that I can identify with people here, but I don't always identify with everybody here, and some of the things that we do, and some of the ways that we believe, and I think that we could learn a lot from other cultures and other places.
No, it's never crossed my mind if I am or not. I think automatically I just feel like I am. Yeah.
I don't think no one could ever be American. American is like full of all diversities from all backgrounds come together to make one super group. It's kind of like the Avengers. Like you got, Hawkeye over there, you got Iron Man over here, you got Hulk, you got Thor, Cap, and then they all come together to form this great group. And I think they're like, it's like America's even stronger when they're all like all the diversities from each backgrounds are like band together and form unity.
Everybody's just gotta treat each other equally. That's like, people just gotta try to get rid of the stereotypes and stigmas.
I think there is, but right now we are unable to achieve it.
Basically, I think it would be very hard unless we have a better system of education.
I think there are. I think it's just about having an open dialogue. I don't think it's anything that's going to happen quickly or overnight or become resolved entirely for everyone. There's always going to be people having that opinion no matter what you do. But I think bringing it out into the open is the best way to go.
There's a solution, but it's never going to go away. We can never get rid of racist people, so racism is still getting around. So there's no solution.
I think we could, if we put our mind to it, we could try, we could get it.
You know how like the government kind of like dispatched or like disbanded like the Black Panthers movement?
Yeah.
What if like the government also disbanded the KKK and the white supremacists?
Yeah, see, something like that.
Our government would never do that.
Yeah, that's
because they're kind of protected in a way.
And more focus on critical thinking, because people are are finding it so difficult to deal with the complexity of the situation that we're facing right now. And at the time of the Industrial Revolution, there was complexity as well. When the Gutenberg printing press was invented, it changed the world. So it's probably not new, but the fact is that people, because of the media that we have now, social media, and the quickness with which people get that kind of information and make snap judgments and want easy solutions for what are really very complex problems, and problems that can only be solved by people coming together, hearing each other out, and then coming up with kind of a middle of the road solution. No one's going to be a complete winner. This isn't life. I think that's the path that needs to be pursued.